it is assumed that the more detail I have, I am able to answer the questions very well. I have seen organizations, I have seen a gentleman in an automobile company, right? And that guy has all the details of each and every information of the organization. It's not because that having too much of details is going to make his performance very effective, but only because when he walks down the corridor, he meets his CFO or his boss, and when he asks a question, that he wants to be answerable. So collecting too many details is becoming another big issue. So is it really necessary? So people will have less time to plan each line and item. So one organization said that I want to do forecasting at an SKU level. But we don't really think that is really important. Or how effective can I take a decision if I forecast at SKU level? Maybe at a brand level could be more important, right? And that's where gives the element for the performance management. So once we have the efficiency layer, which is my ERP, I'm adding my effectiveness layer by having an effective decision quality, and that's what gives me a bigger value. So in short, how can I make it stronger? And any EPM process is not just technology centric, it's technology agnostic. But then the 4 cornerstones, I plan better to arrive at my budgets. Based on my budgets and actuals, I look at my forecast, which should be a rolling forecast, which should be an optimal forecast, and not just only reactive. And then more important is, how am I reporting for effective decision, and not just saying what has happened. This is what an organization needs to get into to make an EPM process more stronger, which leads to the key effectiveness and the purpose of planning, to drive activity very coherently for business strategies. The organizations in Riyadh, SABIC, one of the biggest organizations, they have very clear defined KPIs at the top level itself, starting from what should be my growth by SBUs, what should be my people turnover, what should be my ROCE, my EBITDA, so on and so forth. And that is what is always triggered down the line in terms of the process of planning and budgeting. And that's, again, as a process linked up backwards to look at the key planning objectives. So is my strategy plans linked with tactical actions? If yes, then is it measurable? So is my operational plans linked with my financial goals and targets? If yes, is it measurable? And quite often it is seen that every activity you do has to be measurable, not necessary. So that is where certain cleanup measures comes in to validate and modify. And this leads to the key potential issues and problem areas. That is my vision really right? Expecting a 40% growth when the cottage industry is more prominent. Am I addressing the cottage industry competition quite effectively or not? That is where the tactical action plans helps you to effectively link back to your strategies. And more important is through a mechanism for forecasting earnings, right? Every organization I have seen when it comes to forecasting has been more done selectively by the few for the many, right? But the mindset now has, the paradigm has shifted, which is basically forecasting is being by the many for the many. So it becomes more responsible and ownership driven of the numbers. That's where the cascading effect becomes more reality, and also in monitoring process. So quite often, whenever there is an analysis of actual budgets done, it's never linked with the strategic vision. So we don't know how far I'm going away from the vision or how closer I am to my vision. So a tactical cascading effect which engages all employees in communicating clear strategies and ensuring clear line of sight is the most prominent thing in a APM process, because a good integration of a top-down planning with a bottom-up budgeting becomes the key essential part. Whether it is at a cost center level, whether it is at a brand level or at a SKU level, it's more important to have your top-down vision and your bottom-up process to give you the gap analysis as we go forward. And this is where we always say that it has to be a cyclic approach. Top-down process is basically the directional given, which is defining financial and operational targets, which cascade down to the business unit to push the targets to the actionable level, or it is just number entering. Because when people say that I want to submit my travel budget, it's not just taking the last 3 years of travel data and putting a minus 25% reduce your cost. There has to be an effect to it, right? Is the travel going to certain areas, is it going to add to new customers? Then what do you call it? It's acquisitions of new customers. So it has to cascade down to actionable thing, thus creating a detailed plan and linking it back to your plan finalization. So it has to be a continuous process which leads to the 4 quadrant of the best of the planning approaches. A is the enterprise-wide source of financial data. Whenever we talk about any reporting mechanism or planning process, the first question which has always been asked is that, can it integrate to my SAP? Can it integrate to my JD Edwards and so on and so forth? But the challenge is not just integration. Integration is the next level because only 10 to 14% of the data is used for information layer. More important is how is the heterogeneous data captured? And how am I going to use that effectively for my planning process? And more important, which leads to a streamlining of your planning process. Quite often it is seen that a planning process is just adopted because it is there and there are certain numbers which has been asked for and then we just roll it up. But the planning process has to be integrated across the organization, right? So when cost centers, when my branch heads are submitting numbers saying that they have to add headcounts, right? I need to have an information flowing to my HRD head saying that what is the total cost of addition of headcounts. And that is in line with the strategic vision, right, where it has been defined that the total headcount cost should not be more than 6.3% to the turnover, right? So this cross-dimensional hierarchy becomes a big challenge in the planning process. And leading that to details of data collection. As I said, we all have lived our years together using Excel spreadsheets, depending on them. It's one of the best tools, but it is only person-centric. If the gentleman who has all the repositories of Excel files and if he's on leave, believe me, it will be very difficult to really understand how the numbers have come in, right? So we need to also see that how a good web-based data collection tool, which again has to be owned by the Office of Finance. It should not be program-based or driven, right? That's why when people say that how will you select a best planning tool, the good answer given by some of my colleagues were that I want all the niceness of the Excel minus the pains of the Excel, right? And that's where it is. I want the niceness of the Excel minus the pains of the Excel, right? And link it up with the real-time reporting. Now, when I say real-time reporting, again, what does that mean? It's an hourly basis. I've seen people saying that real-time means that once soon as I look at a report, is it refreshing me as of now, right? Then it becomes a question in terms of, is it going to help you in decision making faster? If yes, then it's real time. But otherwise, it never happens. So how effective am I going to make my information layer for a decision making process is the key element. But today, most of the colleagues have said that, a lack of well-defined strategy, of course, the citing factors is more of a study. Lack of individual accountability for results. That is one of the worrisome area, right? Because why is there a lack of accountability for results is because the ownership from a strategy to the planning process is not at the business level. So the more the ownerships are pushed downwards. I remember a gentleman 10 years back who was working in the travel industry, always wanted to push the information analysis to the business users, saying that it's their job to analyze and then predict what's happening. Right? I should not be analyzing and giving them the reports. Right? So I want to make them dependent, and more important is lack of data availability, because the type of information which is sought by the business users in the Office of Finance, right, is very, very volatile in nature. And by the time a report comes, there are 10 more questions which is being asked, right? So it is very important to have the content of your information well defined, right? And that has to help you in your decision making process, knowledgeable, and make it actionable, right? Having tons and tons of data will be irrelevant as long as it's going to add value to the decision making process. Finally, the entire building block for an integrated business planning has to have the 4 components, which is starting your planning to arrive at your budgeting, having a very effective forecasting to reporting scenarios. As an organization, if you see that so many organizations have been using tools and technologies, but what is important there is technologies are enablers, but what helps you is a very interactive planning process, interactive reporting mechanism, where the decisions are pushed downwards. So there are different organizations starting financial services to life insurance, manufacturing, where there are a lot of case studies which we can share with you during the dinner sessions to also highlight you on certain organizations, how they moved from the standard planning process to make it reactive, responsible, role-based planning process, right? And that's have helped organizations, A, to reduce the planning cycle. Organizations who are doing planning cycles for 5 months or 4 months with having 10 to 15, 20 different type of iterations. But the challenging part is when you ask a gentleman saying that how many versions you have. I've heard one gentleman saying I have more than 15 to 20 versions, right? And when you actually sit and talk to him, every Excel file saved becomes a version for him. Any small change of the numbers, he wants to save it as a version. But versions basically are the scenarios, right? And insurance industry today, every time when we do a presentation, the first thing in the insurance industry, the questions are saying that, can I do a situational analysis, right? I want to build a situation, right, and then see whether can I do it or not, right? So the tools have to be closer to the business so that it can adapt to any of the challenges of the process. So there's a huge amount of experience which we can share with you during our discussions. So by this, I conclude my small presentation on the EPM side. I'll be glad to address more on doing the question and answer sessions, and I'll leave it to the next speaker to come in. Thank you very much.